What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, 20-0, 12 by way of knockout, 28 years of age, stands at 6'1", 74-inch arm reach. He's going into a mandatory showdown with Caleb Truitt, who is a former world champion himself. Caleb Truitt is 31-4-2. Well, we have more better news. Caleb Plant has now confirmed that he will be going into a massive unification showdown with four division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who is the unified WBC WBA super middleweight world champion Saul Canelo Alvarez in his next fight. Caleb Plant has stated that Canelo Alvarez has informed him on more than one occasion that he wants to fight him. Canelo Alvarez, 54 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 36 by way of knockout. He stands at 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. He is going into a fight February 27th against WBC mandatory challenger Avni Yildirim, who is also his sparring partner. Canelo Alvarez is 30 years of age. With that said, Caleb Plant confirmed that Canelo Alvarez was trying to fight him December 19th, but they cited that it was too short notice for them. They wanted to have a full training camp and have full preparation for Canelo Alvarez. And so Caleb Plant stated that him and his team decided to pull out of the fight with Canelo Alvarez. That was scheduled. You could check BoxRec. It was scheduled on BoxRec. Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant, December 19th. He said, but his team decided and informed him that it was better to have a full training camp and full preparation for a Canelo Alvarez fight, a fight of that magnitude. Canelo Alvarez then went on to face undefeated British superstar boxer who was the WBA super middleweight world champion, Caleb Smith, and he defeated Caleb Smith via unanimous decision in his last fight with the WBC vacant super middleweight title on the line. As we know, two-time super middleweight world champion Mexican superstar boxer David Benavidez was stripped of the title due to the fact that he missed weight on the scales in his last fight. So that WBC title was on the line. Canelo Alvarez fought Caleb Smith, and that belt was on the line, and he captured both belts. With that said, Caleb Plant has confirmed that after this fight with Caleb Truitt, Canelo Alvarez is going to look to face off against two-division world champion, WBO super middleweight world champion, undefeated British superstar boxer Billy Joe Saunders, which is scheduled to take place May 8th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Then Mexican Independence Day weekend, you will see Caleb Plant versus Canelo Alvarez if all goes according to plan. That's if Canelo Alvarez beats Billy Joe Saunders and Avni Yildirim. Anything is possible. Obviously, he will be the favorite in both of those fights. I personally believe he'll win both of those fights. And September 11th, which is a huge day in the United States because we know what took place in New York, September 11th. And then we have also Mexican Independence Day weekend is that weekend as well. Those are the normal dates that Canelo Alvarez fights on as well. So that is a huge showdown. It's a huge event at that time here in the States. If this fight was to take place in New York, it would be absolutely massive. Okay. If everything clears up, the pandemic and social distancing by that time in September, and everything clears up and fans are allowed to attend live sporting events, and at Madison Square Garden, you have Caleb Plant versus Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez in New York City at Madison Square Garden, the greatest arena in the world, the most famous arena in the world, holding that unification bout. With all of those things, you bring both of those things together, and it makes for a massive event. Okay, so Caleb Plant is of the belief that this fight is going to happen. When asked about the possibility, we know David Benavidez is campaigning to regain his title, and we know he has a rival with Caleb Plant as well. Caleb Plant addressed David Benavidez, and at the same time, he confirmed that he will be facing off against Canelo Alvarez. Let's just listen to what he had to say.
Don't want to fight any Mexicans. If David Benavidez had a world title around his waist, Canelo
Now, I have to disagree with Caleb Plant there. He says that if David Benavidez had a belt, Canelo Alvarez would be looking to fight him because Canelo Alvarez stated that he wants to be the first undisputed super middleweight Mexican superstar world champion in the history of sport of boxing. And I have to disagree. Canelo Alvarez uttered the same sentiments at middleweight when he was at 160. He said he wanted to be the first Mexican middleweight undisputed world champion, and he was one title away. All he had to do was face off against undefeated two-division world champion superstar boxer who is currently the WBO middleweight champion, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, and Canelo Alvarez chose to go in a different direction. So he did state that before, that he wanted to be the first Mexican middleweight undisputed champion, and he was one belt away from doing that, and he opted to go in a different direction. So when Caleb Plant states that if David Benavidez have a title, Canelo Alvarez would be looking to fight him, after Canelo Alvarez stated he had no interest of fighting any other Mexican boxers, he's stating that he would afford him. Well, that's not true. Canelo Alvarez made that mention, and he said that what's the point in fighting David Benavidez? But you have to look at the facts that when David Benavidez was a world champion, Canelo Alvarez had no interest in fighting him. Canelo Alvarez only had interest in campaigning at 168 as soon as David Benavidez was stripped of the titles. When he was the world champion and David Benavidez was calling out Canelo Alvarez showed no interest, literally no interest in fighting David Benavidez. So I believe, Caleb Plant, you're wrong when you say that. I have to disagree with you. So let's just keep listening.
So if David had a belt, Canelo would be calling his name. Why isn't Canelo calling his name? Because he's irrelevant right now. Canelo has bigger fish to fry. He wants to fight Billy Joe, and he wants to fight me. Well, right now I have bigger fish to fry. I'm fighting January 30th against a back-to-back mandatory, and then me and Canelo are looking to do our thing. So it doesn't matter what he wants.
So he says that I'm going to fight my mandatory, and then me and Canelo Alvarez, we're going to do our thing. We're going to make it happen. So this is what he stated, regarding, what's next for him. Now, I am surprised, though, that he would sit on the shelf, for that long duration of time, okay? Because if he's fighting tomorrow, January 30th, he's going to sit on the shelf for February, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months before he fights again. He's going to sit on the shelf because he already satisfied both of his mandatories, right? And now Canelo Alvarez is going to stay active. Okay, Canelo Alvarez is fighting February 27th. Then Canelo Alvarez is going to fight May 8th against Billy Joe Saunders. So he's going to stay active. By the time he fights Caleb Plant, he would have only been out the ring for 3 months. Caleb Plant is going to be out the ring for 8 months. Okay, that's a long duration of time to be inactive going into a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Now, maybe they need this long of game plan to prepare for Canelo Alvarez, but I believe staying active is the key, right? I believe that, if he, fought David Benavidez, right? That's a huge fight, okay? You're fighting January 30th. Canelo Alvarez is fighting February 27th. Then he's turning around and he's going to fight Billy Joe Saunders, May 8th, okay? You are fighting a month before Canelo Alvarez, right? And then you're not going to fight for 8 months after Canelo Alvarez, but he's going to fight 2.5 months after he fights. And essentially, this Caleb Truer fight is a tune-up fight for Caleb Plant because his skill set is far too great to even, I believe, this is my personal opinion, to struggle with Caleb Truer. I think this is going to be an easy out for him. So this is, and I believe Canelo Alvarez versus Abner Yildirim is going to be an easy out for Canelo Alvarez. Then the tougher fight for him is going to be the fight against Billy Joe Saunders. But I believe Canelo Alvarez is going to pass that test as well. But Billy Joe Saunders is a southpaw. He's slick. He's never lost. He don't know how to lose. He has power. So that's going to be a tough out for Canelo Alvarez as well. I believe that Caleb Plant should be fighting David Benavidez around the same time and staying active. Because I believe Caleb Plant's skill set, matches up well against David Benavidez. Now, David Benavidez is very big, 6'3". He has a 77-inch arm reach. He has a lot of power. But I believe that Caleb Plant's quick feet, his quick hands, and his athletic ability and his accuracy will prove to be too much for David Benavidez. So I believe that Caleb Plant should stay active. Around the same time Canelo Alvarez is fighting, he should be fighting David Benavidez. Maximize on his revenue, maximize on his legacy, maximize on his exposure. A fight against David Benavidez around the same time as Canelo Alvarez is fighting Billy Joe Saunders makes all the sense in the world, because you are placing yourself at that point in time in the pound for pound conversation and definitely building upon your legacy. If you fought David Benavidez and beat David Benavidez Cinco de Mayo weekend, just imagine what this does for Caleb Plant's career. He beats Canelo Alvarez Cinco de Mayo. He beats David Benavidez, undefeated two-time world champion as a superstar Mexican boxer, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Then in September, he goes in a unification bout, an undisputed bout with Canelo Alvarez, because it will be for undisputed at that point, and he beats Canelo Alvarez. So he would beat Canelo Alvarez, only has one loss to Floyd Mayweather, and David Benavidez, who has 0 losses, and back-to-back, and becomes undisputed. He, no doubt, is maybe the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world he'd be viewed as, and his legacy is cemented. He will be the cash cow pay-per-view moving forward, no doubt, if he set it up in this manner. But if he sits on the shelf for 8 months or fights another light-touch opponent and then go into the Canelo Alvarez fight, I believe he's doing his career a disservice. Because if he's looking to fight David Benavidez after that, there's no telling what David Benavidez is going to do moving forward. You could capitalize a fight with David Benavidez in December if you beat Canelo Alvarez, or rematch with Canelo and fight David Benavidez in 2022. You need to keep capitalize on your momentum. Like I said, if he fought in May against David Benavidez the weekend after Canelo Alvarez, okay? Let's say May 15th, he fought against David Benavidez. Well, it still gives him, it's only a week after Canelo. It still gives him the same amount of time to prepare for Canelo as Canelo's going to have, only a week difference. And he would have beaten the bigger name opponent, no doubt. The bigger risk is David Benavidez opposed to Billy Joe Saunders. So it solidifies your fight with Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion. But stylistically wise, I believe that Caleb Plant is going to beat Canelo Alvarez either which way. I believe that his style is all wrong for Canelo Alvarez. Slick boxers with quickness and quick feet and movement will give Canelo Alvarez tons and tons of problems, because Canelo Alvarez has slow feet. Canelo Alvarez is 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. Okay, Caleb Plant is 6'1", so he's a 4-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez. And Caleb Plant is going to be active. Okay, Caleb Plant is not going to be like Caleb Smith. Caleb Smith got in the ring and did not use his advantages. Okay, he has a 74-inch arm reach, so he has a 4-inch arm reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez with a 4-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez. The difference between him and Caleb Smith, who had a 9-inch arm reach advantage, he had an 80-inch arm reach, almost a 10-inch arm reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez, and a 7-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez as 6'3". He didn't use either. Caleb Plant is going to be slick. He's going to be defensive. He's going to have quick feet, quick hands, and he has power. That's going to be a huge problem for Canelo Alvarez, and I'm picking Caleb Plant to win that fight via unanimous decision. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.